Boom shaka laka. What's up, comma? Hello. Uh-oh. Oh. Check. Hello. Hello. Hi. Bear with us, guys, if you hear this early. Another exciting stream ahead. Can you, hey, my friend over here in the chat watching on YouTube, Camo Jello. I hope I'm saying your name right. Can you hear me all right? You're going to be a little tech support early on. Vicky, my friend, how's the audio? That's what I'm worried about right now. That's what we're trying to figure out. All right. Getting up and running here on a Friday to everybody. Audio's good, he says. That's all the praise that I need. There we go. Oh, guys, I had like a health episode after last week's stream. I was like raring to go. If you watched last week's stream, it was a late stream. We did it at 11:30 p.m. I had coffee at 11:30 p.m. And then after the stream, Saturdays are my cheat days. With my diet set up, I have cheat days on Saturdays. And to celebrate a great stream, because I was like, I thought I hit a home run last week in terms of the energy level that late at night. I had like 5 really big cookies from this bakery I really like. And like 4 hours later, dude, I woke up and I was in like the most pain I've freaking ever been in my life. I started like hallucinating. This is a true story. It sounds crazy, but I started having these weird visions of like puppies and like rabbits and really, really freaky stuff. And so, anyways, poured all this sweat out. I was the most physically exhausted maybe ever in my entire life. And so, according to ChatGPT, I haven't been to the doctors yet. I'm going to the doctors next week. But GPT was like, dude, your nervous system like crashed or something. Your vagus nerve. If you've ever heard of this, let me know. But that was all after the stream last week. So I'm a little nervous doing the stream this week. Not anything we're going to talk about makes me nervous. You don't make me nervous. Whatever the hell that was last week makes me really nervous. But I do appreciate anybody who's here live. Happy Friday. We got a lot of music news to talk about. And I'm going to try to do this safely and hopefully in an entertaining form. And I want to shout out to everybody who is watching right now. Let's get to the first story of the evening. And this was a story that broke super early this week. And what just happened to it? There it is. There it is. I believe out of Atlanta is where this happened. Very, very interesting story. So check this out. Beyonce had music stolen from her. I mean, is this not a worst case scenario? And there's a lot of stories that we're going to talk about tonight that are worst cases scenarios. I don't think I said that right. Worst case scenarios. There you go. The final word in that term is plural. That's the only one that needs to be plural. Anyway, take a look at your screen if you're watching on the live stream. Unreleased Beyonce music stolen from a car in Atlanta. Now, do you think that this was just a common car thief and they happened to pick, a gold mine of a car? If you're going to steal a car, hopefully there's valuables in it. I'm not advising you steal a car. Don't steal a car. I want to be clear on that. But if you're going to steal a car, you'd hope there's valuables in it. Can you imagine stealing a car and realizing there's unreleased music from Beyonce in that car? So as the story goes, unreleased music and other sensitive materials. See, that's what do we think the other sensitive materials are connected to Beyonce were stolen from a rental vehicle belonging to her choreographer and one of her dancers after it was broken into in an Atlanta parking lot. Now, do you think Beyonce gets mad at the choreographer? Your idea of Beyonce. Isn't that funny? None of us know Beyonce, but your idea of Beyonce. Beyonce gets mad at the choreographer. Interesting, right? So, according to WSB-TV, the break-in occurred on July 8th around 8 p.m. local time inside a parking deck at Krog Street Market. The thieves also apparently made out with footage plans for Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour, as well as past and future set lists. So, do they think this was a targeted attack? What do you think? This seems a little targeted, right? 8 p.m. at a market? I don't know. If this was in the middle of the night, a different story. On Monday, July 14th, Atlanta police issued a arrest warrant for a suspect after following up on leads, including pinging a pair of Apple AirPods that were stolen and reviewing surveillance footage. Don't steal a trackable device. I feel like most cars are trackable now. Oh, I figured out what's wrong with my audio. It's not my audio. It's this little guy. Okay. Neither here nor there. Most cars, I feel like, are trackable now. Most stuff is trackable. Crime don't pay like it used to. I'll tell you that right now. It is tough to be a criminal these days. At least how I see it. I think it's very tough to be a criminal. Think about how easy it was to be a criminal back in the day. If you got away, literally physically, if you got away with it, from it, whatever the crime was, I mean, what, 80% chance you're in the clear? Now, I mean, cameras everywhere, and it's good. We're safe ever in a lot of ways. Apple AirPods. See, it's like fortune giveth with the Beyonce leaks, and it taketh away with the Apple AirPods. That is bad news. Not what you want to be, I guess, stealing there. So, the police are on this, and that's it. That's the whole story. Now, what do you do though with the Beyonce leaks? Because you can't upload them because they'll get your IP address. They'll serve us a search warrant to Google for the YouTube upload or whatever for the upload. You can't hold them hostage. What do you do? You know? I wonder. That's pretty good luck though, that the thieves got the unreleased music and the Apple AirPods. Apple AirPods, I think, solved that crime. Hopefully they caught this person. And a little bit of a scare there for Beyonce. I heard Beyonce is making a rock album. Have you heard this? Like a real rock album. By the end of the year? This is what members of the Beehive are telling me. I have it on good authority. When I want Beyonce news, I go to my Beehive. My personal Beehive. My proximate Beehive. You need Beehive in your life. And I go to the Beehive for my Beyonce news, and they told me that she's been dropping hints, imagery, and, you know, those who know, apparently a Beyonce rock album by the end of the year. Very interesting. So I guess we'll have to see what develops there in terms of that crime there. Drake is back in the headlines, and that's my expression on Drake these days. That's my expression. It's just my head in my hand. Drake. Drake. You know that Tyra Banks? Speaking of Drake, you know that Tyra Banks meme? You know, we were all rooting for you. I was the biggest Drake stan in the world. I remember telling my girlfriend I couldn't hang out on the night of Scorpion because I wanted to listen to Scorpion by myself. That's kind of like I was, dude. I thought Drake was awesome. Awesome. Now, I don't know. I don't know what Drake's doing, dude. Really. I mean, I really don't. So, Alex Warren. Well, let me back up. It's not about Alex Warren. It's about Drake. So, Drake used to drop music, and without it would go number one. And I did a whole long on Drake 2 weeks ago on this live stream. You can check out the clip. It's on my YouTube. I think it's the most recent long form YouTube video we have on my YouTube. It's about where Drake, which is basically just like how did we get here with Drake, right? And I talked about how before a big thing happens, there's little things that happen. This is in nature. This is in finance with stock market crashes. There's always early signs if you're paying attention. And there's little things happening with Drake right now. And one of those little things that's happening with Drake is he's not going number one anymore, at least not initially. And I don't want people to come after me and go, well, he was number one on the R&B chart this week and he was number one on the hip hop chart this week. No, no, no. This is Drake. Okay. We're not lowering, we're not moving in the goalpost for Drake. Okay. Drake used to drop, and even if it was a loose, it would be number one, Billboard Hot 100. Nokia didn't debut at number one and also couldn't take over Luther. Now, if you think that wasn't the plan with Nokia, if you think that wasn't the plan, that Drake didn't think he was going to beat Luther, and that's where he was going to get his lick back, if you will, you got another in common. Drake drops Nokia, collabs with the Hotline Bling music video director, whose name, excuse me, is escaping me. Maybe not the X did the video, but the choreographer. He goes back to the well of viral videos that he's worked on. And the woman's name is on the tip of my tongue. Anyways, drops the Nokia video, does it in IMAX, which, by the way, what the hell is the purpose of that? And maybe there is a purpose. I'm being very honest here. But if a music video is in IMAX, if it's not on an IMAX screen, what I don't understand what that does for anybody. So he does the Nokia video. He shoots the video for it. I think radio. It gets worked maybe to radio, which is awkward because like Drake is suing UMG, but UMG is actively, I think, working these songs. Anyways, it doesn't beat Luther. It never goes number one. Drake drops What Did I Miss on a quiet week. How quiet was this week? And this is what Drake has been reduced to, by the way. Okay? He dropped on the 4th of July, dude. I mean, that's such a quiet week. YouTube Music didn't even come out with a new music playlist that week. I don't know if Spotify did, but there was no new music playlist, new Music Friday playlist on YouTube that week. Very quiet. He drops on maybe the most quiet week of the year outside of New Year's Day. Still doesn't go number one. Alex Warren, still at the top, holds off Drake. So then Drake, as you can see on your screens now, reacts to Alex Warren's Ordinary, holding him off, saying, I'm taking that soon, don't worry. That's fine. I have no problem with that. The other thing is what I have a problem with. So Drake's What Did I Miss debuted at number 2 on the Hot 100, marking his record-extending 81st Hot 100 top 10 hit. Again, that is just so goofy. I'm not saying, let me be very clear here. Drake is amazing. Voice of a generation, embodied, I think, millennial men and millennial women in a lot of ways, was able to speak to that generation on both ends. Speaking to clearly Gen Z to a certain extent now. Super smart of him to endear himself to all these streamers. But the 81st Hot 100 top, I mean, it's like, like the Beatles didn't have streaming, guys. Michael Jackson didn't have streaming. Mariah Carey didn't have streaming. I'm just saying. It's Apple 6. But Drake, it's not to say Drake's not huge. So Drake writes, Suppressor on the one spot. I'm taking that soon, don't worry. One song or another. Rule changes and all. That last part is such sucker crap, dude. Such sucker crap because Drake used to, whatever was thrown at him, he overcame. And now he's a guy that alleges that rule changes are the reason why What Did I Miss didn't go number one. I mean, it's just, it's like sour grapes. It's kind of lame. What happened to Drake? He wasn't this guy. And now he's this guy. I'm very happy for him over in the UK. That's not the best look. Like you don't want to, as an artist, you want to be killing it in America. That's where you want to be huge. You don't want to Skepta's huge in the UK. And Skepta's awesome. But Skepta doesn't sell records in America. He doesn't move streams in America to a large enough extent to have consistent success commercially in America. So now are we comparing Drake with Skepta in terms of commercial viability? And this is a real thing. It's a real thing. I wanted to tell you because Luminate, this is the company that Billboard owns or uses. I don't know who owns what, but Luminate is the company that tracks all of this data for Billboard. And so typically what Luminate does is Luminate will put out these like mid-year charts, kind of like stats, if I'm making sense. And they put this out, and I thought this was very interesting. And it's off the back, of course, of what we're talking about. Check this out. Look at that. The Weeknd is the biggest Canadian artist in the world per Luminate. I mean, a lot of seats are getting taken in this Drake argument, right? Drake doubles down on Canada. Weeknd's the biggest Canadian artist in the world. Drake's Michael Jackson. He alludes to it a lot in his songs. What really set off the Kendrick whole beef was first person shooter. At the end of that video, he's like dancing like Michael, right? He's got the glove on, all that stuff. I mean, if you're Michael, who's the Weeknd? So a lot of these things, man, it's just I don't know. I don't really know what's next for our friend Drake. As a longtime Drake fan, I don't love the complaining. I think it's lame. I don't think it's like, what champions do, what winners do. Billboard reached out to his team about what they meant by rule changes. Of course, his team didn't say anything, which I think is lame. Rule changes and all. So I don't know. Let's read it. Let's read into this a little bit. See if Drake had a point with rule changes. The number 2 debut of What Did I Miss still gives the Sixth God a record extending 81. Yeah. We know all about that. So it's number 1 basically on a ton of other charts, right? And number 1 debuts, they're really not what they used to be. Number 1 debuts means you're the most famous person that dropped that week, is kind of what that means now in layman terms. And Billboard didn't even give additional stats. What the heck, Billboard? What the heck? As a longtime Drake fan, I just want to see him stop doing this lame stuff. Don't complain about rule changes. Don't act like a tough guy and then go to the other side of the world when Kendrick does the halftime show. Don't run away. It feels like he's running away. It feels like he's hiding in Canada. He's hiding in the UK, But I can't imagine being Drake and America loving you and then out of nowhere singing along to a song where they're calling you a certified P word. I would probably become apathetic like he seemingly has at the start of the What Did I Miss song. I don't care if you love me. I don't give an F about any of that. That's where all of us wind up. But I mean, it's funny. I have my own issues with the charts. Drake has his issues with the charts. I have an issue with the charts. Okay. How is this song number 96 on the Hot 100? You see this on your screens? How is Illegal by Pink Panthers number 96 on the Hot 100? This is one of the top 10 biggest songs of the moment. You've seen the trend, right? People shaking hands. I don't even know how it goes, right? Like the hello, my name is Pink. Good to meet you. You've been recommended to me by some people. Hey, is this illegal? It feels illegal. I know the words. Everyone knows that song. We have to ask ourselves, Billboard, what are we measuring? What are we measuring if there's a song by an animated group called Hunter or something like that? Cartoons. Never heard of Hunter. Never heard that song ever. Don't hear me out of any cars. Don't see people posting to that song. This song is everywhere. That's the one thing I will give Drake. I heard What Did I Miss coming out of car stereos. I heard that. People listen to that. They live with that song. It's not something that happens on stream farms. Drake, that is. People really listen to Drake's music. And people clearly really listen to this and make content around it. And I'm going, this is 96 on the Hot 100. We got to figure out how we're measuring this stuff, dude. Like, for real. Everybody knows that song. But we can probably go higher on the chart, and we'll find songs nobody's ever heard of. This is what I'm talking about. Golden by Hunter/X. Hunter, is that, am I saying that right? Becomes the highest peaking single by a K-pop girl group in Hot 100 history. Okay. Let me state that again. Golden by Hunter/X becomes the highest peaking single by a K-pop girl group in Hot 100 history. They're robots, dude. The robots are here. All of this like doomer, dystopian fear of the future, that future is here. It's here. Blackpink, nope. The biggest, highest peaking single by a K-pop girl group, Hot 100 history, are by robots, are by cartoons. Think about that, bro. Look at this. Look at these stats. Hunter becomes the first fictional act to score a top 10 hit on the Hot 100 since Hannah Montana in 2009. Except she's a human being. The robots are here. I'm just letting you know, the robots are here. We got to talk about this album race really quick as I check in with the live chat. What's up to Vicky? What's up to everyone watching? What's up to Brooklyn Johnny? Good to see you. Talking some music news. We got to talk about this albums race because this album race does not make sense. Hits Daily double writing. This top 20 is different, Jack. Sure is. Jackboys 2. Credited to Jackboys and Travis Scott will debut at number 1 on the album chart this week. First week activity is likely north of 250,000 units for Jackboys 2. The bulk of that, projected at 188,000, is being driven by D2C merch boxes, direct-to-consumer merch boxes. So, it's so corny. Music is so corny. It's so corny. Travis merch sells like hotcakes on the secondary market of hype beasts and streetwear and that whole world. So they did a merch box. 188,000 people bought the merch box. So the streams are part of that merch box. 188,000 streams are for that merch box. So that means less than 70, about 62,000 people, independent of the merch boxes, streamed that album. And you know what? That's probably what it did. That's probably what I would imagine a little to no hype around it Jackboys collective album with Travis Scott to do. But it's going to get credit for 250,000 copies. And it's just so goofy to me. It's like, what are we talking about? I don't know what we're talking about anymore. Anyways, J2 is what it's called. Jackboys 2 is going to unseat this year's current leader, which is Morgan Wallen, which is the last 2 months in the top spot. Justin Bieber's Swag, an album everyone's listening to, will finish in the runner-up spot. Most of its first week total will be made up of streams, 200 million or so, making it the most streamed album of the week. So there you go. Bieber's Swag, most streamed album, but somehow, Jackboys is going to be like double by 100,000 over that. This is interesting. So Let God Sort 'Em Out, which is Clips, Pusha T, and Malice, better known as Clips, is looking at a top 5 debut, 90,000. So, I mean, again, to me, that means Clips got 90,000. Travis Scott and Jackboys got 62,000. That makes sense to me. Giveon, Beloved, is going to be a top 10 opening, and I love a lot of that Giveon album. Oof. I could listen to that guy sing all day. If you want the rest of the top 10, it goes like this. Number 1, Jackboys and Travis Scott, 253,000. Justin Bieber, Swag, 165,000. Number 2, Morgan Wallen, I'm the Problem, at number 3 with 150,000, and it's like 9th week. You got Clips there, number 4 with 90K. K-pop Demon Hunters, 85, number 5. Twice, 83,000, number 6. ATEEZ, 66,000, number 7. Giveon, 43,000 at 8. Morgan Wallen again at 38,000 at number 9. And SZA rounding out the top 10 with SOS. That's 36,800 units for SZA, one of the biggest albums easily of all time. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. I think that's kind of goofy when you're getting credit for something that has nothing to do with the music. Now, if Nicki Minaj doesn't claim she was hacked on this next story, this is one of my favorite things of the year. I want to start chanting Jerry, Jerry. God rest his soul. R.I.P. Jerry Springer. Nicki Minaj throws shade at SZA. We're going to go through a bunch of these tweets, and we're going to try to figure out what's going on. Nicki Minaj shades SZA in a new tweet saying, B-word. Hold on. What is that? What is she saying? B-word looking and sounding like she got stung by a effing bee. ... Draws on my face freckles. Yikes. We're going to run through these. So that's the first thing Nicki said. Then she said, so I guess then SZA at some point goes, I'm going to probably go out of order. I apologize. LMAO, let me go back to being calm, meek. Y'all have a blessed night. See you tomorrow night for night 2 in Paris. And Nicki said, shut up, ugly. Yes, I'll take what is middle school insults for 500, Alex. That is hilarious. I'm in a meeting, so I don't know if you were still talking S or not. So if you didn't, I'll delete later. Ho. I did a video about how Nelly was on The Shop, the LeBron James show. And Nelly was talking about how his era of hip hop was the most competitive and he had to go against J and M and all these people. And I loved that era of music because it was so competitive and it was so dramatic and there's so many rivalries and the competition. And, as long as this doesn't hurt anybody's feelings, I hope that I love stuff like this. It's like competitive. I like that in music. I do. So even more, SZA said, Mercury retrograde, don't take the bait, LOL, silly goose. Nicki then goes, go draw your freckles back on. Liar, liar, pants on fire, sounding like an effing dead dog. You're out of the loop when I'm like, I don't even know what this stuff means. What are you talking about? SZA goes, I don't give none of that weird S you popping. I'm so lost. As I should be. I don't think if you looked at me, you'd be like, yeah, that guy knows what's going on with Nicki and SZA there. But this continued like all week. And I have to show you. Where's the rest of this? There's even more. You're not going to believe me. There's even more to this story. So then Nicki Minaj tells SZA he turned down being on Rich Baby Daddy. That's a song that SZA's on with Lexi Red and Drake. He wanted me and Sexy on it. I still have the version of just Drake and Sexy. Like this woman has been trying to tell the world she wrote for Beyonce every other business day, it would appear. So let's see. Okay. It's a long statement. Nicki writes, I wonder if she know I turned down being on the Shake That Ass for Drake song. He wanted me and Sexy on it. I still have the version of just Drake and Sexy. I said, I want to wait for PF2 for me and him to do a Dricky song. That's cute. So it felt more special. Like, this woman has been trying to tell the world she wrote for Beyonce every other business day, it would appear. I remember me and Beyonce was going back and forth on the phone about that part of the song. B was like, you sing it. I was like, no, you sing it. She was like, no, you sing it. I was like, please, I sing. I don't know what Nicki's talking about here. Y'all, why B said with a straight face, yes, you can, in that calm Texas drawl. None of us wanted to sing those S lyrics. B voice was already on it. I re-sang it and sent it to her, and she sent it back with her vocals under mine. Thank goodness. She also added her vocals under my third rap verse. G Roberson gave me the song with Beyonce voice on it. Then B convinced me to re-sing that cooking up that bass part. Oh, cut it out. Took the B word 2 days to be coached on what to say and do next. Bees have no identity, can't think off the top of their heads if you paid them to. Are you following? Because I'm lost. I am lost. I might have to bring GPT into this. I'm not even kidding. This last thing I have here is it says Nicki Minaj claims SZA is lying about her age. Well, I think everyone knows this, haven't they? That SZA lies about her age. Because there was that whole thing. Drake said that he dated SZA back in '08, which I think he probably did to be a jerk to SZA because she was probably of age in '08. But whatever age she's been putting out there, she would have been underage in '08. I know the Kendrick fans will go, no, that doesn't mean Drake wouldn't have hit. Relax. So she goes, and she's in her mid 40s, right? If not, I need to see a birth certificate. Y'all know she lies, Chai. Let's see. Are the comments nice? Oh, let's see what Grok. Not that that's a perfect system by any means, but okay. SZA was born on November 8th, 1989, per verified sources like Wikipedia, Britannica, and her biography, making her 35 now. Career debut in 2011, dated Drake 2000. Nicki Minaj's mid 40s, claim lacks proof, no record support. Interesting. Now I'm going to go to my preferred AI, and I'm going to say, why is Nicki Minaj and SZA beefing on X this week? Let's see. Let's see if they know. Let's see if ChatGPT can solve the Nicki Minaj and SZA beef. Let's check this out. All right. This is what ChatGPT says about Nicki Minaj and SZA. It says there's a beef time. Nicki's original target was Punch, who's a TDE executive. On July 15th, Nicki launched a blistering thread accusing Terrence Punch Henderson, SZA's former manager at Top Dog Entertainment, of bullying her online after she turned down business offers. She vowed to expose him and tagged it with hashtag Justice for Demori, referencing Demori Hadley, daughter of Rock Nation CEO Desiree Perez. I don't know what that's about. SZA tweets with cryptic Mercury retrograde post that we already talked about. Nicki took this as a snide dig and fired back aggressively. Nicki escalated with a torrent of digs attacking SZA's voice, her appearance, music relevance, and claiming she inflates streams and drops deluxe albums for her clout. SZA then responds gracefully. She refused to engage in further insults. She reminded followers that she's touring packed stadiums, dismissed online negativity, and suggested Nicki is, quote, having a moment. She clarified her Mercury retrograde tweet wasn't directed at Nicki and ended with some self-assured flair. Now, Nicki digs up receipts and history. Nicki then resurfaced old tweets where SZA allegedly criticized Beyonce, Rihanna, Madonna, and Ciara, mocking SZA's fake girls girl vibe. Meanwhile, SZA shared screenshot proof that Nicki once sought a feature from her in 2020. SZA couldn't due to her album commitments, and reminded everyone she holds songwriting credits on Minaj's Feeling Myself. So the too long didn't read version is Nicki's fierce response to a Punch-related post got caught up in SZA's unrelated astrology tweet, and Nicki spun it into a full-on attack. SZA responded with grace, but Nicki doubled down by dredging up old receipts. The beef so far is rooted in misinterpretation, industry politics, and digging into the careers and credibility of one another. Oh, can't we all get along? That's what I'd like to see. Can't we all get along? I did want to talk about this. Sorry. I meant to mention this. SZA not only beefing with Nicki Minaj. So SZA's not only beefing with Nicki Minaj, SZA's beefing with AI. Yup, the latest artist to do it. We talk about this almost every single week on the show. That this is like the hot button topic this summer. It's like the summer of AI. It is in so many ways. And the latest story is that SZA hates it. SZA warns against AI and its environmental racism, slams users for being codependent on a machine. Quote, please Google how much energy and pollution it takes to run AI. All right, let's see. Does SZA have a point? In the words of SZA on SOS track Ghost in the Machine, let's talk about AI. It's a little bit of a, who wrote this? Okay, don't know Hannah. The R&B hitmaker spoke out Wednesday about being deeply concerned regarding the dangers of using artificial intelligence, which, through models such as ChatGPT and Elon Musk's Grok, has been seeing a drastic increase in popularity in recent years. Dude, in recent days. What many of us what many of its users may not realize, however, is that AI comes with a steep environmental cost, one that has been found to disproportionately affect Black and Brown communities, which is exactly what SZA is hoping to get across. I've never heard this. Let's hear if this is legit. Please Google how much energy and pollution it takes to run AI. The musician wrote in a comment on Instagram. Please Google the beautiful Black cities like Memphis that are suffering because of Twitter's new AI system. This is interesting. Please just Google environmental racism. AI doesn't give a F if you live or die. I promise there's a price for convenience, and Black and Brown people will pay the brunt of it every time. Looks like Billboard reached out to X for comment. They probably didn't respond. SZA also slammed the use of AI the day prior, according to Complex, writing at the time on her story, AI is killing and polluting Black and Brown cities. None of you care because you're codependent on a machine. Have a great life. Artificial intelligence has long been a tricky subject, especially with the music industry. Artists such as Rihanna and Paul McCartney have spoken up about the technology to create potentially harmful deepfakes and infringe on other musicians' rights, while others have used it as a tool to aid in the creation or restoration of music. But while the possible benefits and drawbacks of AI are still being discovered, what can't be ignored are the environmental risks it poses. See, I never heard of this. Did you know about this? According to MIT, artificial intelligence data centers frequently demand high amounts of water and a staggering amount of electricity, which leads to an increased carbon dioxide emissions and pressures on the electric grid. No idea. I had no idea. As far as SZA is concerned, she arguably couldn't have picked a better time to speak about what's going on. The star has had more eyes on her than usual this week because of Nicki Minaj. That's very funny. Yeah, man, I don't know. Sometimes I worry that all these like rich people know something we don't, and that's why they're so obsessed with going to outer space. Like, do they know that it's not good here sooner than later on Earth? We're going to go to outer space? I don't know. You know? Like, does Elon know that Grok is going to ruin the environment and they're going to have to go somewhere else? I don't know. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying I think about that stuff sometimes. Anyways. Speaking of SZA's buddy, I thought this was interesting. Didn't even occur to me that this is possible. Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show this year. Kendrick's Super Bowl, what is that? How do I read that? 59? Is it 59? I think it's 59. Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl 59 halftime show is up for 4 Emmy noms. I totally didn't realize that he could win an Emmy this way. Outstanding Variety Special, Outstanding Directing for a Variety Special, Outstanding Choreography for Variety or Reality Program, and Outstanding Music Direction. Now, the Emmys have to start including YouTube, I think, at some point, because with television, the way it's going, what are the Emmys going to be for? They have to, right? They have to include podcasting or YouTube or something, right? Because how long are people going to be making TV for? Like, how many variety specials were there this year? Not taking anything away from Kendrick. I thought that was a really awesome halftime show performance, but I don't think there's that many. I mean, you see this week, Stephen Colbert, they're retiring The Late Show on CBS, which I found to be really sad. Not that it's the wrong call. It's totally the right call. Nobody watches that. I mean, if you watch it, I hate saying that. And then someone's like, I watch it. And it's like, well, dude, if you watch it, that's awesome. You know? But it was really sad for me because a personal dive to The Late Show is I graduated college in 2014. And the first year out of college, I was doing trivia nights in New Jersey and New York. And I was just kind of lost because I was just like, how is this going to get me closer to my dreams of being on television and my dreams of being in music and around music? And, all these dreams that I eventually now talking to you here in 2025, I got to live and I got to accomplish, and I'm very blessed and fortunate and lucky that that all went that way. But in 2015, I was pretty down in the dumps. I was very lonely. Um, I was running a trivia business and I was hiring the wrong people. One guy went to jail. Another guy stole my stuff. Another woman, like, basically like destroyed my equipment. My venues were canceling on me. I was really worried about money, and I was just trying to figure out like what it is that I wanted to do with my life. And I remember that spring, David Letterman, the original Late Show before Stephen Colbert, he had Adam Sandler on one of his final shows, and Adam Sandler did a song, and Adam Sandler in the song about Dave Letterman said, "You're the king of comedy," and then he said, "You're my best friend on TV." And that really spoke to me. I was like, "That's what I want to be. That's what I want to be. I want to be people's best. I want people to have their best friend in their real life, and then I want to be able to connect with them in that way on whatever platform I'm on. I want to be a friend to people." And then, like, the next night or the next week, Jimmy Kimmel on his show did a whole speech about Letterman, and he got really emotional. And that spoke to me a lot too, because he talked in that speech about how when he was a kid, he would stay up late and he would draw, and I would draw a lot as I was a big artist as a kid. Loved drawing cartoon caricatures, really anything. And loved Mad Magazine. I still have my Mad Magazines back there, actually, a lot of them. And he would listen to the David Letterman show or watch the David Letterman show as he drew. And I would do the same thing with like Conan O'Brien and Carson Daly after that. Um, and I kind of decided that week that I was going to try really hard to not be run a trivia business, but to, chase my dreams and try to get into this music and television world. And that was all born out of David Letterman and The Late Show. And then, of course, David Letterman would retire. And then, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've watched the last Letterman show on YouTube with the Foo Fighters playing him out, moving stuff. And yeah, I think it's a little bittersweet. Not no, it's bitter. It's not even bittersweet. It's just bitter that that institution is ending. And I didn't like Colbert. I don't like when politics and comedy are intertwined. I always find that weird. It's kind of like you should be able to be funny without politics. And you should be able to talk about politics without being funny. Um, just my 2 cents. I'm not saying that's the right take. Just my take. Um, but it is the ending of an era in American history that's been an era for 70 years. And I'm somebody that idolized television as a kid. And I just think that we always want to look back in the rearview mirror of our lives, and we want to see a little speck back there that we can point at and say, look, see that? That's my childhood. We don't want to get so far down the road of life that there's no more speck. And that as much as we squint and as much as we look into the distance of that rear view, that we can't see our childhood. I think there's something disorienting about that moment. There's something disassociative about that moment. There's something like not being able to see the ground, being up, a feeling of, not being able to go back to your origin. And everybody who gets older goes through this. Don Henley has a song called The End of Innocence. End of the Innocence. And, he says, like, inside of us, that same. I'm going to look up the lyric because I want to do him justice. It's a beautiful song. It's Don Henley, of course, of Eagles fame. He has this beautiful song called "The End of the Innocence." And I'm trying to find you this lyric that is just he says, "Oh, who knows how long this will last. Now we've come so far, so fast. But somewhere back there in the dust, that same small town in each of us." And that always stayed with me, that sentiment. I think it's very accurate. And I think with something like late night TV going away, the speck gets a little smaller of the world that I grew up in and the world that you may have grown up in. And that's just the natural progression of life. It's not a bad thing. It's just a sad thing. And maybe that's important to remember. Sad doesn't mean bad. And there's going to be sad things in your life, and some of those sad things are going to be bad things. But it's a part of life. And it makes you think like a guy like me who grew up idolizing MTV, and then by some strike of luck, I've been able to be on MTV now for almost 7 years, which is insane. It's like, how long is MTV around? Like the Late Show's going away. Kimmel's contract's up next year. How long's Fallon going to do that show? Look, and all these things are going to end. But I don't know. I like to feel life, man. I got people like, I know a lot of people that just like to go through life. And they just like to and I think that's the worst when if you're an emotional person, if you're a sensitive person, I would consider myself both those things. I want to feel every day. I want to experience every emotion. I want dude, this is my life. This is your life. I want the pain. I want the joy. I want all of it, man. And I feel like a lot of people, they I don't know, they don't want to feel things, but sometimes it's good to be sad for a little bit and just to reflect and to sort of it's the reason why we do wakes and funerals. You gather around someone you loved and you say, this person's amazing, and we're so grateful to have spent time with this person, and we'll never forget this person. And the Bouncing Souls have a song called Night Train that I love. And they say, it's like, wipe the tears from your eyes, one last long embrace, and then head on through. I think that's, I think you should do that with life. It is crazy getting older because it's the summertime right now. And I remember in the summers of 2002 and 2003, and I had a little TV in my room, and I'd stay up late because that's what freedom meant as a child. And I'd watch Conan O'Brien, and then I'd watch Carson Daly after Conan O'Brien. And look, I don't watch late night TV, and that's part of the problem. But sometimes you do look back and you go, wow, that world is gone. Like I left radio this year. How much longer are there going to be DJs on the radio? Imagine my kids trying to understand what I did, It's all very interesting. But that was a big story this week, Stephen Colbert. What's up to Vicky? What's up to Johnny? What's up to those Bud Light bros? Good to have you here, gentlemen. We're about 50 minutes into the stream. For anyone who is just getting here, we've been live for about 50 minutes. A couple weeks ago on the stream. Oops. See, this is what's really annoying. I can't play any of this. So watch. Okay. A couple weeks ago on the stream, I was talking about how music festivals are dead. How the Weeknd outsold Govball when he ran MetLife Stadium earlier this year. The significance of that is MetLife Stadium is in New Jersey, right across the Hudson River. and the East River, so 2 rivers, but pretty close to where they do Governor's Ball in New York. And I'm not going to say touring's dead, but I think touring is definitely going to change. I think we're going to see a rise in residencies. I think we're going to see a rise in stadium shows. It's really expensive. Again, I don't know if over time with Gen Alpha and even younger than that, Gen Beta, I believe this is the first year of Gen Beta. Are they going to really? I mean, we're already seeing partying go down. I just read this week on CBS Morning News, like half as many people socialize and party today than they did 20 years ago. That's terrifying. And I think that's going to extend to touring and live events and going to things like that. And Miley Cyrus on Good Morning America this week saying she doesn't have a desire to tour. So I think that's a major star, kind of being honest about it. We're going to quick break. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back in less than probably 5 minutes. I'll be right back. All right, we are back. Hello. How are you? Coming up in an hour, we got like 30 some odd minutes left on the live stream. But yeah, I do think that's interesting about Miley Cyrus. Doesn't want to tour. Now, you know when people ask, before I get to this, new weekly segment on the show, Taylor Swift's weekly accomplishments. You ready for this? Bam. This is the only one I have for you this week. So High School by Taylor Swift has reached 300 million streams on Spotify. It's her 110th song to achieve this. Crazy. Just wanted to shout that out. For the Taylor fans that like to watch the social clips, now this is what I need to get into here, and I have a lot of thoughts on this. Let me X out of these ads. How do I X out of this ad? I can't. Really? I clicked on it. Will it go away now? No, it won't go away. All right. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. All right. You know when people tell you, when people say, what's the worst that could happen? This is the worst that could happen. This is actually, I'm worried about this story now. This is transcended from humorous to I'm legitimately worried about these people. So if you've been living under a rock or you haven't been on your phone the past 7 days, Coldplay, as the headline there on your screens, seemingly catches a tech CEO cheating with coworker in awkward viral video. Viral is an understatement. This is the biggest internet video of the year and maybe one of the biggest internet videos of all time. These poor people. I don't know if it's going to be a hot take or not. This might turn you off, might upset you. We don't know if these people are bad people, okay? I used to think if you cheat in a marriage, you're an awful, evil person. But then I turned 30, and everybody I know is getting married. Everybody I know is getting married. And the likelihood that all of those people are making good decisions is very low. The divorce rate is 50%. And I always say, that's not even including the married couples that are, for all intents and purposes, divorced. The people that don't make love anymore, the people who don't sleep in the same room anymore, the people who can't stand the sight of one another, but they remain married because of children, because of finances, because of Lord knows what. Societal pressure. That's not even including those. So the actual happy people married is even less than 50% or more. Less. I'm sorry. I'm trying to say less. And so are these bad people or are these bad marriages? Because a lot of people are making bad decisions in their 30s that catch up to them in their late 40s, early 50s. Because what are you supposed to do? You married the wrong person. You didn't know it at 32. Now you're 52. You're like, dude, I'm in love with Carol from HR. She makes me feel alive again. She makes me feel young again. My wife doesn't listen to me. My wife is holding my money over my head. This guy's a tech CEO. I'm not saying this is the case. I'm saying this is a scenario. These two people find happiness with each other. You have no idea. Maybe her husband's abusive. God forbid. But we have no idea. And then what happens is, well, before I even get to the social media of it all, let me catch you up in case you don't know. This is per stereogum.com. They write, did you know that Coldplay's current live show has a whole kiss cam segment like an NBA game? Well, during Coldplay's live show, stadium screens apparently show unsuspecting couples in the crowd, and then Chris Martin urges them to kiss. I wonder if that's legal. I didn't know that. I didn't know that either. Neither, apparently, did Andy Byron, CEO of the tech platform Astronomer, which is reportedly valued at $1.3 billion. Yikes. At a recent Coldplay gig in Boston, Coldplay's kiss cam caught Byron all snuggled up with a woman who is not his wife, and that video quickly went viral. Earlier this week, Coldplay played a pair of shows at Foxborough's Gillette Stadium, home of the Patriots. As the Sun reports, the band's Kiss Cam captured an image of the astronomer CEO Andy Byron, who is married, and the company's chief Kristen Cabo, who is not his wife. Now, is she married? Upon realizing that they were on camera, Cabo covered her face and then turned her back to the camera while Byron visibly panicked and then ducked down off screen. Chris Martin's narration of the moment was pretty funny. Ooh, look at these two. All right, come on, you're okay. Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. Yikes, Chris. Now, I'm going to try to play this without. Oh, there he goes. Auto plays. Do you see this? I mean, these dudes rule behind him. Oh, crap. I didn't mean to do that. Can I refresh that? Yeah. Watch it. Watch this again. I mean, I don't think that's funny. I think that like these people's lives are over. That guy just lost all his money. His wife is going to divorce him. He's owns a or not owns. I don't know, a CEO. He runs a 1.3 billion dollar company. Of course, he'll be fine. But you know what? Maybe I don't feel that bad because like maybe the marriage was really bad, and then this is finally like this is the get out of jail card. This is where it's like, all right, cool, we're out. You know, um, hope he has a good lawyer, and I think the lesson here is like if you're in a bad relationship, get out. Definitely don't marry them, and definitely if you have reservations about marrying somebody, don't marry them. Um, But this is crazy. It's so addicting to watch, isn't it? This is like the fourth time we've played it. So, anyways, that's what happened there. And then Martin says, OS, I hope we didn't do something bad. Now, the New York Post already spoke to an old colleague of Byron who calls him a toxic boss and says former employees are laughing their behind off. The smiling woman in the video is rumored to be one of Cabo's direct reports who was promoted last week. Ooh, this is bad. All right, maybe this guy's a bad person. But astronomer has denied anyone else from the company was in attendance. And this morning, Byron's wife apparently left his last name from her Facebook profile, bro. Hold on. We got to read this article now. Can you see that? What I'm looking at? Okay, amazing. Okay, hold on. How do I get it? How do I get this crap off, guys? I apologize for all the ads. Um, this is terrible. I mean, leave it to the New York Post. Ex-employee rips astronomer CEO as a toxic boss. Okay, let's see what they say. The camera shy tech CEO caught in an awkward embrace. God, New York Post, your site sucks. There we go. The camera shy tech CEO caught in an awkward embrace with an employee at a Coldplay concert was allegedly a boss, and former employees were laughing their ass off at the news. Um, da, 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 da. The incident sparked chatter among his former colleagues, with many claiming that Byron got his rightful comeuppance, according to a source he used to report directly to Byron. I mean, dude, that's like kind of iconic. The text groups and chains of former employees are like everybody's laughing their ass off, enjoying the hell out of what happened and him getting exposed in the workplace. Byron allegedly has a reputation as an aggressive, sales-obsessed executive who can be toxic. It just sounds like he's a competitive guy. Astronomer and Byron have yet to respond to the post or comment. This poor guy. Oh my God. So who's this? Coldplay initially thought he had stumbled on a tender moment in the crowd, but quickly realized something was amiss. Megan Kerrigan Byron is seen with unknown teens and her husband in an undated photograph. Wow, look at this. They're having an affair. They're just, yeah. Oh my God, this guy's like been on TV. Okay, so Byron appears to be married to Megan Kerrigan Byron, while Cabot recently divorced her husband, Kenneth Thornby. Cabot and Thornby filed for divorce in 2018, and the split was finalized in 2022. According to Massachusetts court records, it's unclear if she has since remarried. Oof. Byron joined Astronomer as CEO in July 2023, according to his LinkedIn page, which was taken down by Thursday afternoon. Astronomer closed a $93 million fundraising round in May with backing from Bain Capital, Salesforce, and other notable firms. The company said it would use the money to expedite research and development and to strategically expand the company's international presence. All right, good for them. Uh, this guy's got to be having the worst week ever, right? I mean, terrible, terrible. Not everybody should get married. I mean, take it from J-Lo. J-Lo said this week she's done with marriage after Ben Affleck split. Quote, I've tried that a few times. So I guess somebody proposed to her at a concert in Barcelona. As the singer had the best response for a person in the crowd who proposed to her. J-Lo, marry me. I've tried that a few times. I think I'm done with that. That's funny. But truly, it's like, it's not for everybody. If you're on the fence, don't worry. You know, people are always worried about being old and being alone. Dude, imagine being old and trapped. Imagine being like, I mean, like, dude, I wasted my life with this person. No, don't do it. Reconsider, read some litter, as international players might say. I do think the brands that are like using this couple, chill, bro. Chill. I saw the Phillies had the Philly Fanatic do the bit with the camera. Like, these are human beings. Human beings can hurt themselves. Human beings can get very depressed. They can have anxiety. Like, look, the guy's going to be dealing with enough. Let his wife figure out what his punishment is. But I do think karma's real, and I do think that there's probably a lesson in everything that life gives to us. And I feel like for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction in life. You'll notice this in your own life. You have a really good day, you have a really bad day, you know, things go really well for you, then they go really bad. There's a balance to life. I'm a believer of that, and that makes me tend to believe that this guy was probably a huge a-hole to people that he's now getting this comeuppance. That's what I would think. If you want a lovey-dovey story, I got those too. Adam Sandler. You know who loves Taylor Swift? Adam Sandler. Yeah, Adam Sandler raves about the incredible Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, saying, quote, she's ridiculously nice. Yeah. Billboard writes, Adam Sandler will always be a devoted Swiftie. While speaking to Entertainment Tonight about his new movie, blah, blah, blah. Travis Kelce makes a cameo. The actor-comedian only had kind things to say about the tight end and his superstar girlfriend. I thought that was a terrible thing to call Taylor Swift, but then I forgot what position he played. The top Swift first came up when Sandler was asked whether his daughters, 19-year-old Sadie and 16-year-old Sonny, whom he shares with his wife Jackie. All right, get on with it, Billboard. Got the chance to meet the pop star with Kelce. It was on set. Quote, they have met and Taylor's incredible. Taylor is so damn nice to my family and has always been. She's ridiculously nice to them and warm, and Travis is such a gentle, nice guy. Funny as hell. He's like the guys I grew up with. There you go. It's a love fest. When does this movie come up, by the way? Happy Gilmore 2. So later that year, shortly after Sandler announced that Travis would appear in Happy Gilmore 2, the grown-ups actor echoed those thoughts at the Kansas City Chiefs' New Heights podcast with Jason Kelce. I love what she had to say, what she meant to the young girls, means to women, what she means to guys doing the right thing in life. Sandler said at the time, I do get nervous around it because I don't want to effing blow it for my kids and say something stupid. And in an interview with Billboard last August, Sandler revealed his favorite song of Swift's, everything my two daughters throw on, I love, but One of the first ones they threw on when they were young was The Best Day. We connected with that when the kids were young. Every album we listened to the first day it comes out, there's not a song they don't know every word to. Well, that's awesome. See, Adam Sandler and Taylor Swift, they love each other. Amazing. Neither's a tech CEO. Maybe that's the key. These people do not love each other. Did you see this story this week? Stereo Gum. Perry Farrell is already suing his ex-Jane's Addiction bandmates back. So we're kind of coming in at chapter 2 with this story. Jane's Addiction sued Perry Farrell. Perry Farrell said, you know what? I'm suing you right back. I wish this could turn into like a Netflix series or like a Judge Judy on steroids. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be awesome? Like rock and roll court. Anyways, earlier today, it was reported that Dave Navarro, Eric Avery, and Stephen Perkins were suing their Jane's Addiction bandmate Perry Farrell for assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligence, breach of fiduciary duty, and breach of contract. The lawsuit follows several public incidents, including an onstage fight between Farrell and Navarro in September. Now Farrell is suing the trio back for assault and battery, bullying and harassment, and breach of contract, among other allegations. Farrell filed a legal complaint, which is not a countersuit, but instead a separate lawsuit with his wife, Eddie Lau Farrell, and his touring company. He also alleges that he had no say in canceling the Jane's Addiction tour and breaking up the band. He claims the fight with Navarro was a result of his frustration of his bandmates, quote, playing their instruments at a high volume so that he could not hear himself sing without blasting his own in-ear monitors at an unsafe level, and that Navarro, quote, charged and assaulted Farrell and his wife backstage. I tend to not believe Perry Farrell. Perry Farrell came into K-Rock when I was at K-Rock one day, not on my show, on a different show, and was so high at like noon. Was on so many drugs at noon. Claimed it was like CBD or something. Dude, I don't know if that was CBD, brother. You can look up the clip. Look up Perry Farrell K-Rock. And it's like whatever the most recent clip is with Perry Farrell. He's talking about like being with a woman and making love to her, and then it like became his mom or something, dude. It's weird stuff. Don't quote me, but like very weird stuff. I don't think this guy's well. Farrell's lawyer shared the following statement. As a founding member and creative force of Jane's Addiction, Perry Farrell has always prioritized the band's legacy and its supporters, which is why the events of September 13, 2024 and the resulting fallout was so devastating. All right. Lawyers are kind of full of it. Okay, there is an update. One of the attorneys representing Navarro, Avery, and Perkins has issued statements regarding the band's initial lawsuit as well as Farrell's complaint. It reads, just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. Who cares? Anyways, I guess that's what happens. That's what happens when you get old. When you get old and you're a rock killer, you sue each other. Or you reunite. Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham start reunion rumors amidst Instagram posts. Now, this is huge news for your mom, your dad, your uncle, your aunt, but also maybe even you, because Fleetwood Mac is having a moment. I think, can we actually give somebody their flowers that deserves their flowers? Dogface 420. Remember that guy? Sipping on the ocean spray, cruising around Los Angeles, I believe, on the longboard to Fleetwood Mac. Completely reinvigorated that band. Made that band for the 2020s. That guy. So, Consequence of Sound writes, could Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham be headed towards a reunion, either as a duo with Fleetwood Mac or just as a duo? A new tease by the former musical partners on Instagram is stirring up some rumors. Ha ha ha. On Thursday, Nicks posted the handwritten words on our Instagram account. And if you go forward, ... with Buckingham completing the line on his own Instagram page, I'll meet you there. Well, clearly, I love when they're like, are they reuniting? Obviously, if this is what happened. Together, the lines complete a lyric from the 1973 Buckingham Nicks song, Frozen Love. Furthermore, Mick Fleetwood posted a video of himself listening to the very same song on Wednesday and captioning it, Magic Then, Magic Now. I love this rollout. Can we just say that? I love this rollout. What a cool way to tie 3 different Easter eggs together on the same day. That's cool. Stevie Nicks, who has tour dates actually scheduled through October, and Buckingham, who were once romantic partners as well as bandmates and have had a tumultuous relationship over the years. Buckingham was let go from Fleetwood Mac in 2018 with Mike Campbell and Neil Finn taking his place. The band hasn't toured since the passing of singer-keyboardist Steve McVie. If I'm saying that wrong. Christine. I apologize. In 2022, and Nicks previously stated, quote, "There's no chance of putting Fleetwood Mac back together anyway without her." These are the posts. That's cool. I love it. Were they all collab posts? No, just mix. That's awesome. See, and we end on a positive note, guys. And I think did I do that wrong? What's up to Gunna? I just saw Gunna's comment. Los Bud Light Bros are in the house. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. Really appreciate you. It's a cool little hang we do here on Fridays. Thanks for everybody who watches the clips, who subscribes, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. That's what I'm trying to grow right now. If you can show me any sort of support, I'd appreciate it. And be well. Have an amazing weekend. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. DMs are open, and I'll talk to you next.